Hello, boys and girls. Skeletor here. All we ever hear about is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, so beloved. But what about me? What about Skeletor? I must be loved because many, many action figures have been made about me. Today, we're going to delve deep into Skeletor figures going all the way back to the beginning.
Hello everyone, GL1 here, and I'm really glad that Skeletor is going to allow me to share my collection of Skeletors with you. So what we have here is what looks like a big mess of colored plastic, and there's actually a couple more that are not here on the table, but I'll break it down for you. Now, a little history real quick on Skeletor is that Skeletor was King Randor's half-brother, and his name was Keldor. So, within the past couple of years, a Keldor action figure was made in the 5.5-inch line, which, unlike the original, now has much greater articulation. You have knees and no rubber bands to hold the legs on. You don't have the spring action here, but you got elbows and wrists that bend, and the head moves much better. So you have a lot more playability, with the newer 5.5-inch Skeletor, He-Man line, Motu, Masters of the Universe line of figures. And on Keldor, you can see that, he has the Skeletor symbol here. And what happened to Keldor is, of course, they were vying for power between Keldor and King Randor. And Keldor felt that he deserved to get the kingdom because he was the eldest. And his plan, though, was he wasn't going to get the kingdom. So what he did is he had some acid and he was going to throw it on Randor, and instead it got knocked back at him and melted his face off. He was then dying, and he made a pact with Hordak to save his life. If Hordak would save his life, he would, help serve Hordak. And so Hordak did all that, saved him and gave him a floating skull face, and there you go. You can see that in the He-Man 2001 series, they actually show that history because it's not in the original. All right, so let's start with my oldest Skeletor. And here I have like a 1983 Skeletor, but I really wasn't thinking, oh, I've got to keep it original. I was thinking, I got to make it nice. So my wife would get me sometimes action figures at various places. She would find them at like a yard sale. And this is one of them. So he was really scratched up. So I repainted the face, and I put some glow-in-the-dark paint here. And, I painted his belt and repainted all this, the yellow and the green, and made, the pants extend down his leg. And so this is my version of Skeletor. What I also have is the original Panther, the furry Panther from the 80s. And, back then, they didn't have any articulation. It just was Panther. And it did come with the armor, but I don't have that. But, Skeletor would sit upon Panther, and that was his pet. So, he's got a soft spot for furry things. All right, so that's original Skeletor. And then later on in the 80s, there was a couple of other Skeletors. He's just going to keep falling over. This one here, this is one of my favorite Skeletors, still is. And I actually coated this with some glow-in-the-dark, or if actually it does glow in the dark. I think it already, it originally glowed in the dark. So this whole skull glows in the dark here. And what you have here is he's got a spring arm, and he can throw this. And it does, it gets thrown. So he flings it, boom. And then he's got a skull shield. And what's also really cool to me about this is the hair, like the real, kind of doll hair. So I thought that was really unique. And you can see that what I did is when I was painting this again, I tried to emulate, the original Skeletor. I tried to make it like this newer one. So I think this was around 1988, somewhere around there. And then there's another Space Skeletor also, which is more lean, and they really were just trying to do something different. Like, why should Skeletor be as muscular and strong looking as He-Man? So this is Space Skeletor from back then, and you can see definitely not real muscular. And it has a little bit of a finger lever here. You can see he's got all these cybernetic parts to him now. And so when you rotate him, he throws up his spear, and it rolls in his hands, which is pretty cool. So, and the helmet, I think the helmet comes off and looks kind of Darth Vader-ish. So, all right, so that's that guy. Now they have recently come out with this again with the Mattel like Revelations line. I'm not going to buy it, and the reason is I have the Classics line Space Skeletor, which I changed the head on. So this is Classics line Space Skeletor, and this rocket launching system goes to actually one of the Space Masters. I don't remember his name right now, but you can see that this is like the Space Skeletor body, just a lot more bulked up, right? So this is the Classics line. So at the time, and I think it's still true, you can only get this online. What's nice about this is look at the rubber for the hands, or the plastic. It's nice and flexible, so it's not real hard getting it to hold things. You do have hip articulation. You don't have double knees, but you got, knees, elbows. You have bicep rotation. So quite an improvement. And this is a faker. So I was like, well, I have all these Skeletors, so let me make a faker. But what I did with the skull that went to this is I put it on Skelegod. So I had this Skelegod here. So I got two Skelegods because when they first came out, they were $30, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So I rushed out to get one, and then they went, I guess they made so many and nobody really cared. Just like a lot of people don't really care about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I can see that with ratings. I can see that with who watches my show. But in any case, I have a lot because I like them. And so this skull was on that fellow there, and then that comes off, and I put a bungee on it. But you can see a little more detail in like the cybernetic skull piece there. And so this went down to $7. So I'm like, well, let me get another one, and then then I'll have one to do something with. All right, so moving forward, going to go to another Classics line Skeletor, and there's this guy here. So this came as a 2-pack with Laser He-Man, and then this Skeletor, and then that hood comes off, and you can see once again it's Space Skeletor, but now he's got like an upgraded armor, okay, and it's Space He-Man, which or Laser He-Man, which is a much more mature looking He-Man, like just an older, more, I don't know, just different kind of hero look to him. But that was on another show. All right, so what this has batteries in it, and you push this, and then it's a little difficult to see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the light off over here. And, all right, so you can see the red glow. So you push that, and then the eyes come on first, and then the hand. And then it just gradually turns off. So that's really neat. All right, so another cool Space Skeletor. And so here's one of the Skeletor skulls, the one that goes to Skelegod. And all you have to do is sometimes you can pull these heads off, but other times you have to put them in boiling water, soften the plastic, and then they come right off. All right, so Skeletor then came out in 2001. There was the He-Man line of Masters of the Universe, and I have a bunch of Skeletors from that. So let me start with the basic Skeletor from then, and here he is. All right, so, and I painted a little glow-in-the-dark paint around his hood. And so this is your first Skeletor from back then. And you could see, now it doesn't have, joints, a lot of joints. It doesn't have a shoulder. It does have a shoulder like it would go in and out, but it doesn't have a bicep joint. It doesn't have wrists or elbows or knees. The legs move somewhat, but you can really put it in very limited positions, and then he'll fall down if you don't. But everything is really highly detailed. I mean, I have different plastics, like a soft plastic here, and then you can see there's different colors and plastics here on his, his magic wand there, and scepter. And it's actually the most detailed scepter of any of the line. And even the sword, a lot of the things that came with this line, the 2002 He-Man line, Motu, were really well done. And so there's a button in the back too, and you can push that here, and then he lifts his arm, and it has a ratchet so you can start it at different points, depending on where you want to start that. And it doesn't have the spring or anything in the waist. But here is the sword. And if I remember correctly, what happens is this sword breaks in pieces, in half. It comes apart. You see, I bungeed it together. And there's two different halves, and they fit together. You can see, take a look in there. You know what? I can just pull this apart here. Okay. So one becomes He-Man's sword, and this one becomes Skeletor's sword. And you can see it's got like a little skull on there. And you can see that the star here fits right in there. And so they're meant to merge together. So originally they were merged together, and this becomes the Grayskull sword, and this becomes the Skeletor sword, like that. But then this sword gets modified further and becomes, different when it becomes He-Man's sword. But even the pommels, you can see on the end, you have like a clawed hand there, and then you have a rounded pommel, which is, not as evil looking. All right, so that's Skeletor's sword. All right, and there's even little versions of these two figures. So this is 2001. So there's little Skeletor, and you can see he's got the sword, the two halves together. And so, I know in the dollar store they have little He-Mans and Skeletors, Masters of the Universe figures, but they're nowhere near as detailed as this. And this has also lasted a really long time. In the attic of chaos, my parents' attic, I found this accidentally. Another accidental find recently. And I also have He-Man from then. So, again, it's very different, and see the sword, how it changed. And, he twists as well. So I give it some action. So at least you get some kind of action out of that. All right, so there's a lot that was done with the 2001 line of Masters of the Universe. And McDonald's, great toys. So here is the McDonald's Skeletor, and I have all of them. So here's the Skeletor. Okay. And I don't think this was his. I can't remember if that's Tila's, but I gave it to him. But he does have the spring in there. And it looks like a key, right? So I don't remember what that went to. He can actually move his arms a bit. The plastic's really stiff. He can move his legs. But yeah, you can move the arms a little bit. Um, and then you have Panther. And this is really cool because Panther actually articulates. You can turn the tail. You have the claws. He falls over easily, though. And then he has this that mounts on top and shoots a big giant missile. So, wow, all that for a McDonald's toy. You certainly aren't going to get that now. And what I remember is going to many different McDonald's, trying to get them all, and I couldn't, and they had them on display, and it was the end of the promotion, and I said, can I just buy all of them inside there? And that's what happened. And I think some of them I gave to my son, and then I kept others. All right, so there's more going on with Skeletor from that line. Here is another Skeletor, like a battle Skeletor with the battle armor. And, you know, a lot of this armor is reminiscent of the original He-Man cartoon. There would be different versions of that. And this has, you have a handle here, and you turn it. And look, when you turn it, his arms go, claw, like Wolverine claws. Okay. And then he holds on to it here. So it's like biomechanical. He's controlling it. And then, you know, it's even got like pinchers. So he should be able to pinch. It doesn't move, and the claws are soft. And again, look at all the detail. And it fires a missile on top. And I thought I lost the missile, but no, I actually was smarter than I thought. And I put the missile somewhere in the right place where I didn't lose it. And then this all comes off. You can take off this, and there you go. Then you just have Skeletor. So here's his skull armor, battle armor. And then you can see again, totally different chest. I mean, really, the detail and the thought put into this. I mean, take a look at that. So, you know, you don't get sometimes like the full articulation but that you get in an action figure today. But you just get so much detail. And then you get a lot of gimmicks, you know, like you move it and then the arms go up and down. And they are on a ratchet too, so you can start them at different heights. So you could do a bigger swing if you want, you know. Okay, so there, and then you can just lower that again. And that comes off too. You can see he can let go of it and then it just pops off his arm. All right. Well, another Skeletor from that era, this one, and he's got the spinning shield here, and then you got a button in the back again that thrusts that forward. I'm wondering if they were hoping that when you thrust it forward, it would make it spin, but it really doesn't. And then you have this gigantic shield that's really too heavy, but so what it would do is it would lock like that. Okay, so you'd have one level of shield, and then it would get powered up, and then get more scary, right? So rather heavy and significant, but still really cool, right? So another there, and then also Snake Armor Skeletor from 2001 series. And here you go. And he's got the snake armor. And got the cobra up on top. Looks like you'd have to, you know, if you're going into a cave, you're going to maybe get that caught on something. And then, of course, he's got some weird kind of sword that looks, I don't know, Egyptian and ineffective. But a lot of the ancient Egyptian weapons were really weird looking, and you know, I'm sure they were effective, you know, at some level. All right, so, and then, just to show you real quick, this is new. So this is the new 2000, well, this is, you know, now version of this Snake Armor Skeletor. So it comes with this shield, so it's possible that I have the shield mixed up, and it goes to this guy. But, you know, all these things are interchangeable. But you could see how, I mean, look at the detail of the sword and the Skeletor and everything versus that. And this is like $20. And this was something like 10 back then. So a lot of detail, you know, I mean, look at the snake head and everything. all the detail, all the paint, the fangs, just really, really high quality, these action figures. And I figured they were just going to be really valuable, but more than that, they were valuable to me because I just thought they were really well made. So, and one of my favorites is we have Samurai Skeletor. All right, and this Samurai Skeletor is missing some parts. So I don't know how that ended up happening because I really like it a lot. But when I discovered that it was missing parts, it's got these jumpy feet and it's got a missile that goes in there. I'm pretty sure I have the missile. I think I put that somewhere so I wouldn't lose it. Now I don't remember. But it had a chest missile, and that I haven't been able to find in years. So I looked and looked and looked, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago, to try to find one in a box. And I did. And it wasn't that expensive back then. But you can see this is, it comes with this really cool sword. I don't know where that is either. And then you have a missile that's kind of like a snake, right? So it's actually a lot like that green sword. So there it is in the box, Samurai Skeletor. And then there was Samurai He-Man, which I have and I've shown. And then Man-at-Arms too, who actually never had the armor on the show. I do have Samurai Armor Battle Cat. I don't have Battle Raptor. Sometimes they just don't make that many and you can't find them in the store. All right, and then maybe the ultimate in snake armor or snake Skeletor is this fella here. Now, I bought 10 of these for $1.50 each. And I think they're like $100 each or more now. So I bought a bunch and I've given them away as gifts. I still have a few in the box. But, you can move his arms all around. This one has it's spring, so it closes. Okay. So, yeah, isn't that cool? So, yeah, very snaky Skeletor. So, yeah, that was a real buy. I just, I was like, wow, I bet these are going to really be valuable one day. And you know what? I was right. All right. So then we go to, I guess we can go to Revelation Skeletor. And we can start with this Skeletor here. Right? So, and then you could just see it. I haven't opened it because I have so many Skeletors. And I'm like, well, let me just keep one in the package. And you can see it's got the two-tone on his scepter, which is great. And then all the other figures, which if you've watched any of my other He-Man shows, I've shown those. And then he eventually morphed into Skelegod. Super powerful, taller, almost 9 inches tall. Falls over a lot though. Not a lot. The ankles don't have a lot of resistance, so it does tend to fall over. And then it comes with this like energy blast that you can stick on his hand. And pretty cool detailed. Look at the scepter. So much more detailing. It'd be great if it were painted multiple colors. And the cloth in the back. And it even has like weights on it, so it just hangs the right way. So it's got these plastic weights that weigh it down. So just a really great action figure, actually. So if you can get one of those on clearance somewhere, which you should be able to, that's pretty cool. It just falls over. All right. Then going to move to the newer Masters of the Universe. The Netflix Masters of the Universe Skeletors. So, let's see. The first one that I bought, I believe, was actually this one. Yeah, so there's, again, you can see it's similar to like your basic Skeletor colors. You have, although he has a hand that's, like a bright yellow. It's got the scepter. But these do have the spring. And they're reminiscent of the old 1980s toys in that no knees, no elbows. You can move on the arms only forward and backwards. You do have the spring. You can move the hips around. You can move the feet, which helps them stand up. So that's a great thing. So they weren't done with modifying this. So they had that, and then they did different things with it. So then this came with a 2-pack with He-Man, and then so now he's got like a glowing arm and glowing scepter, and he's all charged up and glowing face. So it's fluorescent paint, so it will glow with a black light. It doesn't glow in the dark. A very muscular figure. And then another one that is the same, basically same figure, except they gave him a motorcycle and they changed his colors. I thought these were really cool colors. He's all black and yellow head. And actually, I think this was the second one I bought. The one with all the green energy, that I just got actually for like the 2-pack for $5. And that was like a clearance at Walmart. And on the motorcycle, you have a place where you can store his scepter. And you can see it's kind of like it's got the face of like Battle Cat on there. But yeah, you can see it's the same figure, just with a different paint and plastic coloring. And then he kept changing, and then he changed into this one. So then it's kind of like a Beast Skeletor. So yeah, this is Savage Skeletor. I knew it was something like that. And you get, actually the ankles don't move this time, but it moves at the knees, and the face is different. And we can take a look at that. See how it's hollowed out in the cheeks there. So it's actually, you can see like the different plastic coming through the black, and the chest is completely different. The shoulder armor. So, and the hand is not really for grabbing anything, but it's just scary looking and turns. So that's great. And he comes with a little buddy. So there's a little pet. Just a single soft plastic friend. So again, he's got a sentimental side, I think. So there you got all that armor. So just really great figure. This 2022. And changing again is Skeletor's Reborn. And now he's really kind of getting scary looking. And he's got these, like a giant hand that can come on and off. Give you a good pummel, slapping with that. And then he can pummel you with this skull blast punch. And then that fits over his fist. And then look, it has a nice little detail there, a little cloth. And he twists too. So he can do like a thunder punch kind of, that's going to fly off there. But yeah, he punches. He's got some good articulation. And, again, this is, what's great about this is the detail, because it's kind of going back a little bit to the 2002 figures. This is 2021, actually. So this came out before Savage Skeletor. But, again, going back to more colors, more detail. So I like that. Well, Skeletor wasn't done morphing. No way. So then there's Giant Skeletor. And then Giant with his giant energy charged battle armor. Okay, so you can get that. And it's got the giant scepter. It's got like a Wolverine type of claws. None of these hold things very well. And then this armor can come off. And there you go. And it's really just a big version of the original, Masters of the Universe cartoon Skeletor with this energy armor. So that's, pretty cool. And again, articulation is pretty all right. You got the shoulders, you got the legs, you can turn the feet. No knees, but that's all right. So you can see how big that is next to the other guys. So he's really, really large. All right. Well, more changes for Skeletor. Uh, he went small. So then they came out. Now this is Revelations. Revelations and Masters of the Universe Netflix came out like almost at the same time. So this is a mini Revelations, and you can see it's really Skelegod if you look in the back there with the chest armor and everything. So, just mini Skelegod, and even the weights kind of imprinted on the plastic there. Well, I'm going to finish this line here. Then there is the gigantic, dragonistic Skeletor. I mean, he's really morphed now. Just a gigantic figure. Stands up really well. Has elbows, shoulders. Only the hips and the feet move. But you have a tail that helps him stay up. The head moves all around. And the jaw opens. So, very scary. And it's got these levers back here. You can see one is like a sword hilt, and the other is like his scepter. So, and they each move an arm. So really, again, kind of neat because they're combining the two elements of Castle Grayskull, the scepter and the sword, and into Skeletor. So, and it's a soft plastic here, so it doesn't poke you. I was reading a review of this, and someone had bought this for their child and said it's too scary for a 5-year-old. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool, and you can see the different colors. So this is just an impressive figure. I think the wrists turn too. Yeah, the wrists turn. So it doesn't, it's just impressive looking. It's not real detailed and doesn't do a whole lot, and it's around $30, so it's kind of expensive. I think it might even be more at times, but it's, if you're going to complete the line, you got to get that. And then you have the wings, and you can move the wings all around, how you want. They don't flap though, so that would be kind of cool if they had a lever for making the wings flap. All right, and if we go to the line of Skeletor Mega Blocks, so Mega Blocks also was doing things with the Revelations line. So here we go. So take a look, Battle Armor Skeletor. And again, I've said before, these are action figures because look at all the articulation. They're not like Lego figures. They can move all around. They're really highly detailed. The armor comes off. And then you even have Battle Cat. And Battle Cat has articulation. You can turn its paws and its shoulders. They can actually rotate. And then the helmet comes off. And the jaw even, I believe it opens. No, it doesn't open and close. I thought it did. Okay. But the head moves all around. So that's great. And you can take this armor and move the tail all around. And yeah, the legs even go in and out too, not just back and forth. So really highly detailed. And because it's Mega Blocks, you can get multiple ones, and then you can make your own Skeletor, which I did. So I combined some different figures and I made my own Skeletor figure. And I gave him like the beast arms and the beast whip. And then I made his own scepter. So, just to have fun with it because I already had one Skeletor. So I kind of wanted to make like a clone that's different. All right, and on the 5.5-inch Skeletor... Oh, actually, no, I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to go this way. 5.5 line of Skeletor. So here is the 5.5-inch line of Skeletor. And this one, if you'll see the eyes, have... Let me get that in there. They sparkle a little bit. So, okay, there. So they sparkle. So they have like little clear... And the original one doesn't come like that. It just is just red paint in there. And also, this is different. His scepter is multicolored. So that's different there. So this Skeletor came with the Keldor Skeletor. Keldor action figure. Actually, the head came with that, and then I just put it on the regular Skeletor. So, all right, and there's furry Panther. So this too, I waited and waited because when this came out, it was like $42, and I'm like, I'm not paying $42 for that. It is cool though. I mean, look, it's got that fur coating, which definitely will last apparently 40 years, and he articulates well. He's got the mouth that does open and close, so that's great. And Skeletor can ride on him, right? So he just sits upon that. Quite easily, okay, on there, right? And there is Skeletor Monster Truck. You may have seen this race in my Monster Truck races. Did not win, but did all right. But there you go. So Skeletor really is seeped into a lot of different products. And then last, and perhaps disappointing if you've, I don't know, maybe yours works better than mine, but they have the Rock'em Sock'em Skeletor versus He-Man toy. And so you could move them back and forth. And I've shown this before, but this is from the 2002 He-Man and Skeletor. So you have like a, he can punch and then swing his sword. Okay, and then they can knock each other off. But that's how it goes. It doesn't take long to knock them off, and because He-Man's sword is slightly longer, he ends up knocking Skeletor off every time, which just seems a little bit unfair, right? So, see, you can see it happen again. So, anyway, so other than fighting sideways, that's what happens. And then once again, you see, and Skeletor loses every time. So I kind of think that was intentional, but you can see how it locks in, and then you have this. But it's impressive to look at, right? So, all right. So there, I've shown you, as per Skeletor allowing me, my great Skeletor collection. I hope you enjoyed that. And then I have this 3D Skeletor in the background. And so you take a look at that artwork. All right. And I'll be talking to you soon. Take care.